Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Time to do another What's Been Spinning video. The little video series where I just share with you the albums that I've been spinning since the last What's Been Spinning video. As always, I only share the albums that I actually sat down and listened to from front to back. Not albums where I just kind of spun a few songs here or there, or streamed a couple of songs or that type of thing. So yeah, let's just kind of jump right into it. Excuse me. One CD to show, and that is the Delphonics. La La Means I Love You, just kind of a greatest hits of the definitive collection. Just that awesome early soul. And this kind of more so not on the get down, get gritty, like, Aretha Franklin type of soul, but this is more of kind of that smooth, chill, laid back kind of soul. A lot of strings kind of make up most of the songs. Matter of fact, if you kind of take the bass guitar out of it, you would almost think, and the smooth vocals, you would almost think you're listening to a big band kind of record. But songs like La La Means I Love You, Ready or Not, Here I Come, just awesome jams. The kind of album I always envision, if you have like a 1962 Corvette convertible, that's what you play in it when you're cruising around back in the back in the 60s. So really good stuff. Moving on to vinyl, Van Morrison's Moon Dance. You guys know this classic from 1970. Probably my favorite Van Morrison album. And definitely an album you could throw into like one of the best side ones type of discussion. I mean, Stone Me, Moon Dance, Crazy Love, Caravan, Into the Mystic. That's a bad side one right there. So that was a great listen as always. And one I hadn't spun in quite some time, Peter Gabriel Live in Athens, 1987. This is a 2 LP from his concert. And pretty much everything you would expect him to be doing live in 87, with stuff like Shock the Monkey, Don't Give Up, Salisbury Hill, Sledgehammer, In Your Eyes, Biko, on and on. So great 2 LP set. Like I said, just hadn't spun that in quite some time, so broke that out this past weekend. And another banger of just a straight up awesome hard rock album, which is the Tesla Reel to Reel. This was the Record Store Day release. The first one, there's actually two of them that they put out, but this is the one that came out in the 2024 Record Store Day, and I think the other one was 2025. But both of them just flat out albums and really just show the amazing rock band that Tesla is. I mean, they're covering songs like, Space Truckin'. They're covering stuff from like, Bad Reputation and, stuff from Thin Lizzy and just all kinds of awesome stuff and kill it. Such an amazing rock album. So highly recommend that if you're not familiar with either one of those reel to reels. Next up here, kind of going back to what I was just saying about the Delphonics, the very similar band here with the main ingredient. And this is their album Bitter from 1972. And exact same thing, bunch of strings, that smooth, kind of chill back soul. The one song I'm sure most people probably know off of this one is Everybody Plays the Fool. That was covered by, I think, was it Go West in the 80s? And Aaron Neville, I think, did a cover of it, and some other people as well. But yeah, that's the main ingredient. So just another chill, laid back soul kind of album. And we'll go from laid back soul to get up on your grill thrash right there. Testament Low. Just, I mean, the one band that should at least make the big four, the big five, without question. Now, I've always said if the big four went to the big seven, it'd be easy to say add Testament, Overkill, and Exodus, right? They should be right there with the big four. And if I had to only add one to the big four to make it the big five, Overkill's my favorite band of the three, but who is most deserving would be Testament. I mean, those dudes just kill it every single time and just, gives you thrash as pure as thrash should be. So absolutely love them. And so went back and spun Low. That's their 1994 release. Another one I hadn't played in quite some time, Sons of Anarchy. This is music from season 1 through 4. Very great album. Came out in, this pressing came out in 2015. I think the actual album came out in 2011. But yeah, this is one that's kind of hard to get for sure. I've had, I think, 2 or 3 people on Discogs just emailed me out of the blue asking if I would sell it because they saw it in my collection, and I was like, I cannot do it. But just all the great stuff from the first 4 seasons, which is really classic songs that were redone, and a lot of time they were all songs that were done a little more mellow, a little more intense than the original versions of the songs. Like Son of a Preacher Man is on here, John the Revelator, Forever Young, Fortunate Son, Someday Never Comes, fantastic track off of this. Give Me Shelter, Hey Hey My. I mean, just great stuff on this album. Really awesome stuff. So that was a great spin. And one that you see me show all the time. I mean, how many times have you heard me talk about this album on my channel? Billy Idol's Rebel Yell, still not arguably, it is one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. This cassette was the first full album I ever purchased out of a store back when I was in 5th grade. I still have that copy to this day, and I still play this album just to no end. I mean, Eyes Without a Face, Do Not Stand in the Shadows, Rebel Yell, Crank Call. I mean, just never get tired of that album. Just absolutely love it. Then how about a little The Cult? This is Love, their classic from 1985. Again, you guys know this album, I'm sure, very well. My favorite song off of it is She Sells Sanctuary, one of my favorite road trip songs. Love pumping that song when I'm driving down the highway. Just has so much freaking energy, and it has me driving 90 miles an hour. And Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes. This live performance they did was like back in 2000 or something like that. This is the 2 LP of that, and yeah, it's just just them doing their thing. And I remember too, I've always loved the Black Crowes so much, and I never realized why it didn't hit me how similar the characteristics they had to Led Zeppelin until the first time I heard this particular album, and I was like, yeah, that's why the Black Crowes sound like that. But yeah, I mean, a great matchup on that one. Fantastic album. A lot of great songs on there from Zeppelin stuff like Wanton Song, which is my favorite song off of Physical Graffiti, Misty Mountain, to She Talks to Angels and other stuff from the Crowes, Remedy. So yeah, really great album there. And another one that shows up almost just as much as Billy Idol on my What's Been Spinning videos, Mistress America. I'm forever in love with this soundtrack. Now I'll describe it again. Mistress America was a movie that came out around 2015, 2016, so it's more of a recent movie, but this soundtrack just plays to the 80s heart inside of me. 80% of the music on here is just instrumentals that are done by Dion and Britta there. It's just music by them. But almost every single one of those instrumentals is the perfect song that you could take and insert into any 80s teen movie where the guy and the girl were going to kiss for the first time and they're setting like the whole scene and here it comes. You can take any of the instrumentals off of this and insert it into that scene and it fits right in. That's the 80s feel that this thing brings, and I never get tired of listening to this. Even though it's not necessarily a record that I would recommend to somebody unless you truly love that, because there's not much else there for you if you're not into that, especially considering that it's an instrumental. I mean, it does have No More Lonely Nights by Paul McCartney is on there as far as like a regular song, and Souvenir by OMD. Both of those songs happen to be my favorite by each one of those artists, so that's kind of a plus. But yeah, it's that instrumental stuff that I cannot get enough of that album. So if you are an 80s lover of what I just described, you have to check that out. Psychedelic Furs, Made of Rain, their 2020 release. So kind of, one of their newer albums. Just kind of typical Psychedelic Furs. Being a more recent album, a little bit more on the heavier side than maybe what we're used to with their older stuff. But I mean, it's also like, 30 plus years later. So, but good album though, for sure. Then don't necessarily have a favorite song off this. I definitely know side 4 tends to be my favorite out of the 4 sides, but I haven't necessarily determined specifically which songs are my absolute favorite. It's just love the Psychedelic Furs. And just randomly pick some Rolling Stones. So, this is their classic, It's Only Rock and Roll, which I always find kind of an interesting title considering that a lot of this record isn't necessarily rock and roll. But yeah, another Stones classic there. So I gave that one a spin. And UB40, Labor of Love 2. Definitely my favorite UB40 album. This came out in 1989. I remember my friend Eric back in high school. He was, kind of the guy from that I wasn't normally friends with, and we kind of met up and became friends very quick. And he started introducing me to a lot of music because I was all basically hip hop and hair metal, along with 80s new wave back then. And he was kind of into stuff like this. And so I remember when he first introduced me to Labor of Love 2, and I was just like, that is a fantastic album. Kind of more on the, not the popish reggae, but definitely more, reggae more, leaning more towards the pop side. But, great songs all the way throughout. Here I Am, Tears from My Eyes, Groovin'. They do a cover of The Way You Do the Things You Do by The Temptations. That's probably actually the worst song on the album. But, Kingston Town. I mean, just a really, really great reggae album. One of my favorites. So that was a really good spin. I remember enjoying that one a lot the other night. The Savage Resurrection. This is the release from 1968. Just kind of an awesome, I guess technically psych album, but definitely does a great job of kind of mixing psych and a little bit of garage rock. Matter of fact, every time I listen to this album, it always makes me think, this is what I want the Beatles to sound more like in my own little personal world. So great album. Again, hadn't spun that one in a while, so that was a good revisit. Little Danzig 2, another classic right there from 1990. Danzig doing Danzig. Tired of Being Alive is definitely my favorite song off of this one, so another classic there. And my boy, Magic Sam. This is Black Magic, or Magic Sam's blues band. Just one of my top 3 favorite blues artists. This is an album from 1968. Sadly, he wasn't around, I guess, that long to record a bunch of studio albums, but the stuff that he did leave is just on point. And the thing that kind of makes him so special in my mind is a lot of the blues is about that grit, that Howlin' Wolf, that Muddy Waters, that Sun House, like, that gritty throat just kind of making you feel. And Magic Sam actually came from the church, singing gospel music and things of that nature first. So he brings more of a soulful singing to his blues as opposed to the grit, but still keeps the emotions of the blues in there. So, I mean, Sam was just awesome. If you're not familiar with any of his stuff there, Baby, What Have I Done Wrong? Definitely the song to check out off of this album. But really, really love that one. Supertramp, Breakfast in America, another classic album you guys know. It's just classic. So many great hits off of this. My question to people is always, how old were you when you first discovered this wasn't a city in the background and it was just dishes like the fork and knife sticking out for the piers and salt shakers and cups? I honestly don't think I knew that until about maybe 10 years ago. Like fairly recently, considering how long that album's been around. But classic. Ice House, Man of Colors, another awesome 80s kind of pop new wave band. And of course they had the big hit Electric Blue off of this from 1987. Same thing here with Yaz, Upstairs at Eric's, another classic. It's a nice little mo-fi pressing there. And I guess one of the main writers here, or one of the main artists, was originally in Depeche Mode and had left early and kind of came over, and Yaz was one of the albums that he ended up doing. So it has that great synth feel to it. So you have great songs like Don't Go, and then of course the classic off of here, which is Only You. And just, again, takes you right back into the 80s. So good. And then here we have My Morning Jacket. Another really good album, and this is probably one I'm going to purge, actually. I just decided to listen to it the other day, and I definitely enjoyed it. I love the song "Steam Engine" off of here. I think that's actually the song that brought me to them, their 2003 release. So it was a great listen, but one that as I'm kind of going through this purge phase, I don't think I need to keep my collection. I'd be kind of happy with just the CD. So great listen, but that's gonna go out the door. And then we have the Shout Out Louds, another great one here, Optica, their album from 2013. One of those 2000s bands that kind of give off that 80s synthy kind of new wave feel. And yeah, I bought this as a blind buy like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago or something like that. And because it was only like, it was marked down to like $3. And I was like, I'll take a chance on just a cover looks cool, and ended up loving it. So great discovery there. If you're not familiar with them, a couple of songs to check out off of here, but I would probably say Blue Ice would be the first one I would go to. And if you like Blue Ice, then you'll probably like the rest of the album, so you can check it out. And always kind of an interesting band to me, which is Train, and this is their greatest hits. And Train is always so interesting because even as I was listening to this 2LP, Train is one of those bands where when something comes on that I like, I love it. I could rewind it and play it over and over 5, 6, 7 times in a row. Something comes on I don't like, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so painful to try to get through this. I don't know if I cannot go over there and pick up the needle and skip because this is so horrible. I mean, it's just like total feast or famine with them for me. But yeah, I mean, like I said, when it's stuff that I actually like, Meet Virginia, Drops of Jupiter, Hey Soul Sister, just really great stuff. But then other things when you don't like it, I mean, Angel in Blue Jeans and Call Me Sir and a few other things, just kind of like, whoa, it's it's just so hit and miss with them. So that's their 2LP greatest hits. They even do a cover of a Careless Whisper. They do a cover of a Wham's Careless Whisper on here, with Kenny G is playing the saxophone on it, which is kind of neat. And I got two more here. The one and only Legends, The Church, Starfish. Don't have to say anything about this one. Under the Milky Way, just one of my absolute favorite monotone 80s new wave bands. So much great music out there. So many great albums by them. And last but not least, we'll finish it off with two of the legends, Tony Iommi and Glenn Hughes. And this is Iommi Fused here. So another great one. Just hadn't spun it since I got it a few months ago. And yeah, just, two of the rockers doing their thing. So there you go, VC. That's what's been spinning since the last What's Been Spinning video. As always, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you stopping by and checking it out, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.